So today we're crossing Arabidopsis. I've got this that I'm going to use as the female plant. The focused. Okay. And I'm going to use these as the males. Unfortunately, this plant matured much faster than this one, so there's very few flowers left, but I think we'll still be able to get some pollen out of this guy. So Arabidopsis self-crosses if it's left alone, which means that if you want to cross one plant to another plant, what you have to do is you have to get rid of the male part of the flower before it has a chance to fertilize the female part. So I'm going to start with this here, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove all of the older, I'm going to remove any open flowers, because if it's open, it's had an opportunity. Can you see that wall?
Yes.
It's had an opportunity to self-cross. Alrighty, so I'm going to remove the open flowers. And that way also if saliques form there later, then I won't get confused as to which came from my cross and which was around before my cross. So this one's still got a little bit of petals peeking out of it, so I'm going to get rid of that too. Okay, now I just have the unopened flowers. And I'm going to choose one of the bigger flowers, and I'm going to cut off the rest of the clump. So there we go, cut off that. I probably also cut off the meristem there, so that this won't grow anymore. I left 3 here just so that I'm gonna if I do one and it works, I'm gonna cut off the other 2, but I might screw one up, in which case it'd be nice to have backup. I'm actually gonna sit in the chair. Sorry, Gigi, it's gonna knock your feet off for a second. So now, it's kind of hard to see, and some people wear crossing goggles with little magnifyings on them for this, but I can do it with my naked eye. So now I'm going to, with a pair of nice tweezers that I only really use for crossing, I'm going to start stripping away, and I'm going to remove everything from this flower. So that's a petal. I don't know if you can see that. It's a petal that I removed. That's a petal and a sepal. There might even be a little stamen in there as well. Oh damn, which one was I doing? And there's a little, definitely got a little stamen there. It's not developed yet. I'm trying to be careful not to damage the carpel. I think carpel is the female part. The whole thing. And that was just the last little underdeveloped stamen. So now you can see this flower is just a carpel, nothing else. It's been stripped. So I can get rid of the other 2. Look at this lady. Looks good. I really hope there's still some pollen in these flowers. Untie that. That one probably still has good amount of pollen in it. So now Are there any other flowers here that look like they might still have pollen? Oh, this one might. Just in case that first one didn't work out. So it should. Okay, so now that's been pollinated, but when we put it back in the growth chamber, there's going to be a bunch of other plants there, and they're going to have a bunch of pollen, and there's going to be pollen floating all over the place, and we don't want any other pollen to land on this. So I'm going to have to wrap it up, put some protection on, which I forgot to prepare. So. Okay, so for protection, we use saran wrap and we tape it onto the plant. So I'm just going to cut a piece of saran wrap. This is the most frustrating part, actually. It's more putting on the protection is more frustrating than the actual crossing. But dealing with saran wrap is always frustrating. So, a little piece of tape on the end there, and yeah, sorry if my finger might block it a little bit. Is it gonna make it? Now some people like to, so that's good, and that saran wrap sticks to itself pretty good, and I think that we can call that protected. Now some people like to spray a little bit of water onto the saran wrap before doing this, just to keep the environment in there nice and moist, which I think is helpful for the first couple days. And the problem is, if you do that, you have to really be on top of it and make sure that you check up on the plant. And the moment it looks like it, like that silique is elongating, that you take off the saran wrap, because if there's moisture in there, you're going to start to have, you know, fungi and whatnot growing there, and then they're going to ruin the cross. So because I'm a little more forgetful, I don't put water in there, and it's not as likely to get to have that problem. So if it works, if the cross works, then within 4 days you should see that little tiny female part actually already be significantly bigger. And I'm gonna do several more here because they don't always work and I want to be safe. Also, this particular mutant I'm working with, I know is a little less receptive than a typical plant. And also, I'm not too sure about this pollen here. Ready? Okay. So it's been 4 or 5 days. These were crossed on the 16th, and today is the 21st. And you can see these crosses were successful because the siliques have started to expand and elongate from where they were when I crossed them. And just for comparison, this is one that I crossed on the same day as well. And there's one here that didn't work. Yeah, this top one looks like maybe it didn't work. Is that focused?
Give me a second.
That one may or may not have worked. It's still unclear. But in general, if it doesn't work, then it just stays the same size as it was across. It doesn't grow. So now I just want to prevent the... So this protection is no longer... Yeah, this protection is it's no longer necessary because it's been fertilized, so I can take it off, and it's better to take it off because if I don't, then sometimes I get fungi and stuff growing in there. Oh, it's gonna slip. There we go. And it's free. So I'll leave that and let it mature. And once it's mature and starting to dry, we can pick it off the plant. On the 6th of July, this is a plant that was crossed on the 21st of June, so it's been 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, between 2 and 3 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, about 2, 3.
And you can see here that some of these saliques look like they're about ready to cross. So this guy, is it better without the hand?
Yeah, without the hand
Okay.
it's better. Yeah.
This guy, that one, ready. Then there's these two, which are a good example of what's not ready. This one still got too much green, and so does this one. So we're gonna harvest 4 of these. And the problem is once they are ready, they're also very delicate, and if you touch them, they're liable to pop and all the seeds will fall. So there's a few different approaches people have. So some people like to actually put the thing in the tube and close the tube on it, and then you don't really risk that problem. But I think if you are careful enough, it's also possible to just grab the base here, cut, and put that in the tube. Oops. And this one. And with these tubes, because there is still some green in there and it's still alive to an extent, you want it to be able to breathe. So you just get a needle and a little hole in there. Which ideally you actually do before you harvest. But there we go. And I think maybe in a week or two these could be ready to sow. If you're worried about the mune being something that you could lose, a very weak plant, then you can sow it on plates that have sucrose on them. I think I might do these straight in soil. I have pretty good germination rate. And that is it. That's crossing Arabidopsis.